All right, time for the shimmers. I am excited to share with all of you my Sydey Grace shimmers / pressed pigments, all of the shiny, beautiful things. I do have to say, I think that Sydey Grace, when it comes to your standard, beautiful, foily shimmers, they have my #1 formula. You know, I don't necessarily think that they have a lot of things that I would need in the world of like super sparkly, shiny, multi-chrome things. That being said, I have not ordered any of the newer multi-chromes from them, but when I want a multi-chrome, I want a multi-chrome with like a capital M, flash, 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 all of the sparkle, all of the shift. And I just don't think that that is the Sydey Grace aesthetic, and that is totally fine. That means that when I'm looking for just that beautiful shimmer, those formulas that I can count on, something that's going to look luxe and lovely and perform really easy on the eyes, Sydey Grace is where I go. So I'm excited to share this with you today. If we haven't met before, my name is Kelly and I'm a professional hair and makeup artist. And here on my channel, I strive to keep beauty real. Real honest, real relatable, and real fun. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, don't forget to click subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. We're going to dive right in. I am hoping that you find this helpful. If you do, please don't forget to give this video a like. It really does help me out here on my channel. This is going to be like Sydey Grace week here on my channel. Sydey Grace extravaganza, trying to get ready for the Christmas and July sale. I wanted to swatch my collection for all of you, and I wanted to do it in bits and pieces just so that, you know, you can kind of jump around to what is going to be helpful for you. So I'm doing a mattes video, which I believe has probably already gone up at this point. And then today we're, again, working on all the shiny things. And then I'm also going to be doing my cream shadows. You had to know that one was coming. I'm a huge fan of the cream shadows. That one might actually be up already. So at any rate, I hope you enjoyed this. It's been a lot of fun. I have found so many beautiful, pretty things in my collection doing this swatch fest for you. So thank you to all of you for giving me a reason to like sit down and run through my makeup today. All right, let's get into this right now. All right, here we are to swatch all the shimmers. I do actually have a few more than this. Couldn't fit them in the palette. You know how it goes. I have already swatched my mattes for all of you. If you do want to see that video, I will make sure to have it linked down in the description box and also probably at the end of this video. All right, let's go ahead and dive in. Now, what I am going to do is obviously do swatches for all of you on my dry arm. This one has been through a lot today, so if I do feel like it's starting to get extra dry, I will just spritz a little bit of MAC Fix Plus, let it dry just to sort of like rehydrate my arm a bit. I think we should be okay. I seem to last through most of the mattes without a problem before, but I will also have every shade that I'm swatching listed for you down below in the order of swatching, and I'm trying to denote it like arm 1, arm 2, arm 3, depending on how many we fill up. All right, let's get into this. I am very excited. So the first set of shades we have is going to be all of the like neutrally shimmers. This first one is Morning Star. She's had an accident. Seriously, when I first got my first set of Sydey Grace shades, I was so excited and I put them all in a palette and I was like running upstairs and I dropped the palette, and a few of them were the worse for wear after that. But Morning Star is this beautiful kind of like blushed gold. It's not like a yellow gold. It's like a champagne-y shade. It is very pretty. I think that it is just a beautiful one. I'm sad that she's all crushed in the pan because of course that does mean that, you know, shrapnel just starts to fly everywhere a little bit. Maybe I will get a new one. We will have to see. So this next one is Pumpkin Spice Latte. Now, I think that this is one of the regular shimmers. Most of what I have in here are what Sydey Grace considers their pressed pigments. Pumpkin Spice Latte is a regular shimmer, so it's not quite as like shiny with a capital S, but it is a very beautiful shade. Obviously a bit more toasty and warm, but really lovely. The next one here is Versailles. This is also another wonderful one, very, very creamy. I would say that Versailles is a bit more on the peachy side, or the like almost like slightly peachy rose side than Morning Star. So you can see, let me just make sure I'm on the right finger. Morning Star has more of that like gold sheen to it now that you see it next to Versailles. Very pretty, very buttery. This next one is one that I would definitely recommend if you are a rose gold lover. This is in my like top 10 Sydey Grace shimmers especially, but probably top 10 Sydey Grace eyeshadow shades. This is blushed. You can see this one is definitely more of your rose gold shade in my opinion. It has that beautiful mix of gold, champagne, and that rosy hint to it. It's not overly pink, it's not overly gold, it is just perfect and so, so shiny. Love it so much. And then this next one we have is the shade Paris. Paris is, you know, it's more of like a, I guess I would say a bit more of a strong rosy tone. It even has a little bit of a, I'm gonna actually say like almost like a lavender sheen to it. Like maybe if you can see in some of that light, it just has this slight like taupey lavender sheen to it. Very pretty, but definitely more on the pink side. If you love your cool tones though, she is lovely. I do apologize that these are a bit out of order. I have a couple more warm tone ones that I probably should have swatched up here, but we will do those in just a moment. I'm gonna move into the shade Today and Forever. This is a beautiful shade that is definitely more of like a true pink or a rose, I guess I would say. This one, you probably won't be able to see it, but it has little micro flecks that I can see. I mean, boy, it's just barely like, and I mean like micro, and they are almost like a rosy copper shade to them. So it has a beautiful texture. This next one is kind of the same. This is Blaze, and Blaze has, oh, it's such a beautiful base shade. It's a beautiful, like warm, toasty, rusty rose. And then it has a copper gold flake to it, or like micro shimmer. Again, I'm not going to say flaky. They obviously come up very, very smooth. Let me see if I can actually zoom in a little bit so that you can see. Oh, you're probably not going to be able to quite see that. Let me brighten that up just a bit more. Well, I tried to get you the dimension there. I might actually just leave this a little bit brighter. I'm trying not to let these shadows get washed out here on my white vanity, but I also want them to be really true to tone. That is important to me. So I think that we're still good there. Okay, so I actually think that this is going to be a good time to pull in the shade Antique Coin. This is a beautiful shade. Ugh, it is so good. It is, you know, I mean, it's a basic, beautiful, warm tone brown, but the thing that makes this special is this coppery shimmer that, not even shimmer, a sheen that it has. It doesn't have like flecks of mica like what was that one called, Blaze? It doesn't have the flecks like Blaze does, but it does have this beautiful sheen to it. Very, very pretty. I wanted to throw it here because it is sort of in more of those like slightly warm tones. This next one here, I don't even know if I've actually worn this one on my eyes, so let's go ahead and swatch it. It's Coliseum. This might have actually been one from a mystery bag. I'm not sure. This one, up close, if you look at it in the pan, it is really interesting. It's got this, you know, warm brown base, like almost like a golden brown base, but then it has a little microflecks of pink and gold. So it's really interesting. You don't see a lot of that in the shade though. I'm wondering if those actually kind of blend in to create just like a nice warm tone. But you can see it definitely has more of that, like, I'm going to say like antique brown. You know, if you think an antique gold has a little bit of that like greenish tone to it, this is like an antique brown. Okay, now let's do these couple warm shades that I skipped over. This first one is the shade Apricot. This is actually a really beautiful shade. It reminds me of one that I have from the Clionadh Circle Shadows. It's just, it actually has, I would almost go as far as to say that this is a duochrome because it has such a reflect, like the base is a little bit more warm amber and the reflect on the top is so bright gold. Like you can see that there. That is a really, really pretty shade. So if you like your good warm tones, it's a lovely one. This is so much fun because I obviously have so many shadows that, you know, it's been a while since I've taken the time to touch them all. So maybe I need to do more like, just like, you know, take some time to do some swatching in my collection. So this next one is Blushing Peach. This one is another beautiful, definitely a, I mean, I'm going to say like more of like a duochrome because it has that rosy peachy base and then it has the orangey gold sort of like shift over the top. So you can see there, like, I mean, is it duochrome with a huge capital D? No, but it definitely has that beautiful dimension to it. So pretty. All right, I think we can do this. Let's move into a few of these warmer shades. You see this one here, I'm actually gonna save it to swatch with some of these just because I kind of want to compare it to this one right here. Again, this is one that was from my very first purchase from Sydney Grace. This is the shade Lemonade, and she also took one for the team when I dropped my palette. But this is so pretty. Man, I need to pull this one out this summer. Let me tell you, I have a feeling that this video is going to result in a build your own palette, complete Sydney Grace like one brand situation, just because I'm having so much fun here. I mean, look at that shade. That is yellow with a capital Y. This next one is Orange Slush. Again, this is another beautiful like orange pigment, very much like just super citrus here. Ugh, like man, if we paired it with this green one that you can't see right now, we would definitely have like all the citrus going on. All right, so the last one that we're gonna pop in here is the shade Lost Princess. This is another one that I think is so pretty. If you have green eyes and you want something that is really going to enhance them, anything that has that like red undertone is really gonna bring that out. But since this is, you know, it's a red, but it's like, it has a little bit of depth to it, you know what I'm saying? So this would be beautiful on the lid in like a smoky eye if you just wanted to like enhance your eye color. I'm just gonna zoom out so you can see all of these. So again, this will be arm 1 down in the description box. Oh my gosh, I don't even know if I can get all of these. Ah, there we go. These are all so pretty. I love them so much. Okay, let's get arm 2 going. All right, now let's get into some cool tones. I don't have a lot just because it's, you know, not something I lean into a lot, but we're gonna do sort of like the grayed out purples and a couple blues. So I'm really excited to get into these. This first shade is one that a lot of people know. This is The Greatest Gift. This was actually in last month's BYOP, my Gratitude palette. So if you want to check that one out, I'll make sure to have that link down below as well. The other ones that I was saying were like almost duochrome. This is most definitely a duochrome. It has a beautiful like violet lavender base with that, you know, blue, green, almost like yellow shift. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see that. I might need to zoom in just so you can get that just a little bit more. Hopefully you can see that. It's probably not the best to like swatch it right over my lovely watch tan mark there, but it is a lovely one. I think most people have seen this shade, but I always enjoy getting to celebrate her. Let me tell you, these nails are gonna need a good scrubbing underneath by the time I'm done because I have so much shadow under them now. Okay, this next one is Peace, and Peace is a beautiful like lavender. It's got a bit of like almost like a silvery base to it. Very lovely. Again, if you are a cool toned lover, this is a beautiful one. This next one is Opulence. Now Opulence for me is a silver, but it has a bit of like a grayed out purple to it, like a plummy silver. So that one I actually haven't used in quite a while. I tell you what, this is gonna go into a cool toned palette at some point for me because this is one that I have not been appreciating enough. I mean, look at the shine that these shadows all have. I tell you what, if you like a good shiny shadow that just is so easy to use, always dependable, Sydney Grace is where it's at. Yummy, yummy. Okay, now we're going to go into, let's see, I'm doing purples here, so I'm just gonna kind of continue down that purple train. We're gonna go into Amethyst. This is more of like a true purple. I would actually say that this has like a drop of fuchsia in it. Just has a little bit in the tone that gives it more of that like brightness. So I think that that is a really pretty one. This next one is the shade Pink Fury. I don't know. Oh, this one kind of reminds me of one that I have from Divina. Let me just, we're doing the thumb swatch, so I'm gonna do just like a little awkward lift here. So this one, again, is, I would say it's more of like a satin. I don't know if this is considered as one of the regular shimmers and not a pressed pigment, but it is very beautiful, but it isn't like overly impactful. It has almost like that satin, slightly ultraviolet, you know, sheen to it, I guess I would say. So probably not one that I'm gonna grab for a lot, but it is really pretty. And if you like a bright, bright pink and you want something that isn't going to enhance a lot of texture, shadows like this are beautiful because they just don't have quite as much of that reflectivity that is going to like show crinkles and wrinkles in the skin. And I should say that some of these have probably come from mystery bags that I've gotten over the years. If you know me, you know I'm a huge sucker for a mystery bag. If you don't know me and you like mystery bags, please subscribe because I'm sure I'll be getting the ones from Sydney Grace this year. I think it's just such a fun option and you really do get a great value out of them, but some of these will be from those, which means that some of them might not be available. However, I want to show them for the people that maybe have them in their collection and they're looking to see what else they might want to add into their collection. So I just decided to throw everything in. This next one is Yours Forever. This is a beautiful, like yummy cranberry shade, very, very like fall vibes to me. Ooh, so good. Yum. Definitely, like I said, it's got that cranberry, almost like a rusty red base, but then it has the sheen on it is more of like a brighter raspberry. Oh, so pretty. Okay, while I'm here, I'm gonna do the three, what I would say are like definitely more in the blue family. These I got out of the Sydney Grace mystery bag last year. This first one is Baby Boy. This one is actually more of like a murky teal. It's not like a straight up blue, which is great for me because that's not usually something I would wear. This, because it has a bit of that green, it's definitely something that's more in my wheelhouse. I'm gonna shift just a little bit. I'm gonna shift the correct way. Okay, so that is Baby Boy again. And then here I have Force of Nature. This is actually a really pretty shade. It's not something that I would necessarily go towards, but it's almost like periwinkle meets blue. It's, well, I mean, periwinkle is a blue, obviously, but like it's almost into periwinkle. I don't think it's coming up as bright on, at least not on the viewfinder of the camera as it would be in person, but oh, so pretty. It does have like a little bit of an extra shimmer to it. It's very, very pretty. So pretty. Okay, so now we're gonna go into Let's Cuddle. I have worn this one in a smoky eye and it is so delicious. It's this deep murky navy. Now this I find is not, again, the most shiny of shades. I don't know if that's just the nature of a navy, but it really is more of like a, it's a kick up from satin, so it's not quite as shiny as these, as you can see, but it's also not just a satin. I think sometimes, you know, those dark tones just don't have as much reflectivity to them, so that's part of it as well. I think that, let's see, since I could probably keep going, maybe I will do some of the like teals, so the colors that are like more like blue green, because obviously, well, you can't see because they're over to the side here, but I do have a lot of greens to swatch, and since we still have some arm real estate, let's go ahead and do that. This next one is Emerald Eyes. This is so pretty. I think I got this one in the mystery bag, and I tell you what, if it is available and you like a good teal moment, this is beautiful. It might be hard to see, but I would say it has less of a gray base than that first shade that we did, Baby Boy. It's definitely got more of that like ocean at midnight vibes. I don't even know what that means, but we're gonna go with that. Okay, this next one is Bride to Be. That's an interesting name. I wouldn't necessarily think of this as like a bridal shade, but this is a beautiful shade. It has much more of that vivid feel to it. You can see there, I'm gonna just zoom out just a smidge so we have some room here. It has more green to it, so you can see there, like, I think even you can really see the difference between like this one here and then these two shades here. It has more of that like gray and blue base to it. All right, now moving into Under the Sea. This is a very pretty shade, but I don't think necessarily unique. I think we've all kind of seen, it's almost that like brown base with a different shimmer over the top. Sorry, I just wanted to kind of change the camera there. So it has that more like browny, rusty base, and then over the top is a beautiful, like lighter teal shimmer to it. It's very pretty. Again, it's not unique, so you do kind of want to like check your collection and see what shades you have. Then following up with the very well-known red Chameleon. So this is, of course, also known as Scarab in Mel's palette. So if you have Tiny Marvels, you actually have this one. So you can see here how red Chameleon has more of that like reddish brown base, whereas the base in Under the Sea is a little bit cooler tone, but still has a little bit of that murkiness to it. All right, and now for my favorite part of the show, the greens. So we're gonna get into all of these greens. I have a lot. What can I say? I have a type. Okay, so this one is one from the mystery bags last year. This is Stringtown. Okay. So I'm gonna start above my little tan line there so that hopefully we can cram all these in. This is a beautiful, lighter, I'm gonna go with seafoam green, you know, or like maybe even like a celery. It's got more blue than celery, doesn't it? So it's a beautiful shade. Again, this was a mystery bag one. I don't even think it's one that I've used yet, you know? So many shadows, so little time. Why do I keep buying more? That's a question for another day. Don't judge me. So the next one is Mint Chocolate Chip. I think this is another one that a lot of people have. I do really like this one. This one has a bit more of like a silver to it than the Stringtown shade does. And I would say even a bit more blue to it. It looks, actually, yeah, I think you're getting that more that Mint Chocolate Chip almost has a bit more of like a gold reflect to it. Can you see that there? Where like that has a bit more to it. It's a very pretty shade. Now moving into Recruit. Recruit is a beautiful like olive meets gray kind of vibe. This is like the type of cool tone that I enjoy. I mean, I know a lot of people are like, Kelly, that's not a cool tone, but to me it is. It's more of like a neutralized cool tone. It definitely has some of that gray to it that just makes it really wearable on someone that maybe doesn't want to wear a lot of like cool tones. Okay, I'm gonna move into something that's a bit darker just because I think that it's in the same vibes. This is Peach Harvest. I bet this is one from my very first mystery bag because I think a lot of the like peach or southern themed things were in that one. Wow, that's a huge swatch. You're welcome. So this is actually like a green brown. So pretty. Oh man, so many good shades in here. So I'm definitely gonna have to like utilize these more. I think for me, a big part of it, sorry, I'm getting on like a tangent here. A big part of it is I put it in this two-sided Adept palette, and honestly, it's just too much. It's just too much to like flap open all the time, and because I can't see them, I just don't think about them as much. So for my sparkly shimmery things, I do usually prefer a clear top. So at some point I'll have to get my life together and do a like reorganization of my Sydney Grace. Granted, that might be happening after this sale. Kind of out of order here. I should have probably popped this one up earlier, but this is Fallen Splendor. Oh, I did mention in the mattes video that I do want to say that some of these are probably in the Mountain Trail bundle. I got those shades when it was a bundle. I do think that they are probably still available as single eyeshadows, but you can also get the Mountain Trail bundle palette. If you are a green lover, I highly, highly recommend that one. It is a beautiful palette, so very lovely. This next one is Juniper, and Juniper is more of like a bright, I would say like khaki green with a golden shimmer to it. Can you see that? How it's got that like gold to it, but it does have a like a greeny old gold base to it. It is really pretty. The next one is Commission. This one has a bit more of that like foresty green base to it. So you can see that next to it, Juniper almost looks like more golden. And then Commission has a bit more of that like true, like I would say it's almost like an army green with a bit of gold shimmer to it. So then we're gonna get, maybe this one actually might even be more army green. This is Escape. Although this one, so it almost reminds me of Jester from Makeup Geek, but maybe not quite as like bright, but it's got some of those tones where it's, you know, a little bit more of like that bright green to it. I have a couple goldy greens that I'm going to pop here at the end, so I'm kind of skipping around. Now we have Pear Tree. So this is just telling me that the one thing that I absolutely do not need from the sale is more green shadows. I don't need to get any green single shadows from Sydney Grace. Pear Tree is a nice one. It seems to have a bit less sheen and shimmer than the ones above it. I guess I can't say that. It's almost, the base is like the color of the shimmer over the top, so I would say less dimension, maybe not less shimmer. Okay, we already did Fallen Splendor. So now let's go into these two sort of like greeny gold ones. So Light My World is, again, I'm gonna say, oh gosh, thumb swatch. This is gonna be a big fat juicy one. This one really is lovely. It does have, speaking of dimension, I see some fine microflecks of gold and silver glitter in here. Like even on my thumb right now, I can see the silver and the gold glitter. You might not be able to see it obviously in the arm swatch, but it is there. I don't know that you would necessarily see it on the eye, but it might come up as just more like catching the light. Now, then we're gonna go into, oh, there were a couple other greens I should have swatched. We're just gonna go out of order. What can I say? I just can't. So then the next one is Be the Sunshine. And this truly is, I would say, an old gold, or like an antiqued gold, but it does definitely have a green hue to it. So I wanted to show it here just so that you can see, you know, compared to some of these shades that do have a bit more of that gold in the green. This actually might be a little bit closer to Jester. Like Jester from Makeup Geek is probably maybe like taking these two and having a baby. You can just see there. Yeah, okay. That's probably a little bit closer to Jester, but it's such a pretty shade. It is that, oh, it's just so pretty. It's like, I'm gonna have to pull this one out too. Just that lovely, like funky gold. So lovely. Okay, so I have 3 more shades here. I am gonna, since we're in something that's kind of bright here, I'm gonna show you this one. This is Tempest, and it's this bright, like electric green, but it's more of like a, I don't even know, like a neon electric. The formula on this, I mean, it's nice, but it doesn't have a lot of super high shine, but I do think that it's just pretty how like saturated it is. I mean, that is a banger. Like, you know, it's that really electric, almost like neon mint. That's a thing. It's a neon mint. It just has so much sheen over the top that I think it makes it look lighter than it is. Cause like, you know, when it's not hitting the light, you see more of that like green base, but then it has like more of that mint when it's right in the light. Okay. 2 more shades, we can fit them here. So this next one is the darkest I have out of the bunch, and this is To Earth. This one might be in the Mountain Trail bundle. This is just gorgeous. Just a beautiful, like, oh, I don't even know, like deep, deep forest green. It almost has a little bit of just a hint of that like blue-green to it. Very, very pretty. I do find that the darker the shade in the Sydney Grace formula, the less high shine it looks, but this is, it still has a beautiful sheen to it. It just doesn't, you know, like these catch the light much more than, you know, something like that, but that's also probably just the nature of a dark shadow. Now this last one, I would say that this is probably more of a shimmer rather than their pressed pigment. This is Rustic. I feel like this one, I might actually move it over into the mattes just because it really does perform almost more like a matte to me. It does have a bit of sheen to it, so it is more of like a satin finish, but it is a little bit flatter. It's beautiful though. Rustic, I think this would be a great one on dry skin to use as a matte just because that little bit of sheen would be very like friendly on dry skin. Is that everything? I think we might have gotten through. Oh, wait, no, I have 2 more. Did I do these already? Oh, we did all those. Yes, so that's it, y'all. Wow, okay. Let me zoom out so we can kind of try to get a view of all of these. All right, I think I got my whole arm in here. Hopefully you can see that, but please feel free. I'm hoping that I have chapters here, so if you need to rewind anything. And again, I will have all of these shades linked in order of swatching listed down below, going from arm to arm. So I hope that that's really helpful. Okay, my vanity is covered in the sparkle. And I've had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. If you have any questions, don't forget to leave them down below. I will try to answer these before the Christmas and July sale. So happy shopping if you're planning on taking advantage of the Christmas and July sale. I know that I am. I am not sure quite yet what I'm going to be picking up, but I do have a few things on my wish list. I would love to know some of the things that are on yours, so you can drop them in the comments down below, and I will see you really soon.